Welcome back to KTAL LP FM 101.5 in Las Cruces, New Mexico. We're going on about water in this segment, Science. Let's take a look. I'm your host, Vince Gucic, and Dave Dubois, state climatologist, and Tom Schmuggy, remote sensing expert, are here with me. Tom, you were just going on about the Mesilla Valley Bolson, one of our big water reserves here.
Right. We were discussing how do you estimate how much groundwater is available in a particular aquifer. And basically it does require a number of wells where you know where the top of the water table is and you know how far down you can go. And there was an old report from the Water Resources Research Institute which talks about the amount of water in the Mesilla Bolson. He says that the water in the Bolson is limited, the good water, the freshwater zone, is limited to the upper two layers of the aquifer with an average thickness of about 700 feet and a surface area on the order of 612,000 acres. And they say that within that volume of soil, about 20% can be water, the pore space within the soil. And it comes up with a total of about 86 million acre feet of water in the Mesilla Bolson that would be usable fresh water. So it's a fairly substantial amount. And there have been other more recent analyses by John Hawley, who is a geohydrologist up in Albuquerque. He came up with a number on the order of 65 million acre feet. So our particular Bolson is pretty well documented that there's a considerable amount of water available. The question is, how long will it last at the rate we're pumping it?
Right, and then what fraction of that total content is pumpable? So,
True.
What's the Las Cruces withdrawal, 20,000 acre feet a year?
That's for the municipal water, right.
Okay.
The other domestic water pumping within the area is on the order of 10 to 15,000 acre feet. The city of Las Cruces draws on the order of 20,000 acre feet. Other municipal and domestic water supplies are on the order of 15,000 acre feet.
The other one's down here that
Right.
can tap the Bolson.
Right,
Okay.
right. Like, I don't know, Moongate, the old, what used to be Jornada Water Company,
Right.
Picacho Water, or whoever's up there now.
Yeah.
But so those are all, the total is on the order of 30,000 acre feet for domestic water.
Mm-hmm.
Ag varies from 180,000 acre feet in a good wet year, a good surface water year, to 330,000 acre feet in a relatively dry year.
Ouch.
So it's mostly going into ag.
Right.
So that big number of 60 to 80 million is not that big.
Right. And
when you look at some of these numbers.
If have heard numbers, let's say you make it, I don't know if it's optimistic to say 20% of that content is pumpable, so you're down to maybe 17 million, and you're using a third of a million, that gives you 51 years before you pump it to unusable.
And that's at the current rate.
That's at the current rate.
Yeah,
right,
so that's the assumptions where I mean, if you look at what's, that's driving more irrigation,
Yeah.
and it's, I don't see the population decreasing, right? And
No.
I haven't seen anybody predict that. So, I mean, it's a slow rate, but it's we're eating it up. That's the big question.
That is an interesting question. Hope for me was presented by an irrigation engineer, Eric Fuchs, from the Elephant Butte Irrigation District. He gave a presentation again to the Academy for Learning and Retirement, and he did an analysis about 2 years ago of looking at the Elephant Butte wells within the Mesilla Bolson and looking at their water level from, I think, 2010 through 2014, something of that order, the recent 5 years. And he found that the depletion over the area was much less than what the pumping had been for agricultural irrigation. And the implication was that the water is coming in from probably the West Mesa area of the aquifer, water coming down from there, and perhaps a lot of it is just recharge from the excess flow from the irrigated water. The water that's applied to a field that is not used by the crop sinks down in and serves to recharge the aquifer to a large extent.
Yeah, I was interested some time ago in the salinity level of the Rio. I thought a lot of it came from agricultural return flow, but there was a conference by, I guess it was Water Resources Research Institute in Socorro. They said it's natural salinity in our rocks and soils.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
So there's no way out of that.
Right.
But I think my impression is that they like to use the surface water to flush out the saline water, the salts that are left from the groundwater being applied.
Right, because you can't keep irrigating without doing that.
Right.
Correct. So the snow melt from up north should be relatively good, but by the time it flows down through everything,
Right.
There's a different flavor, I guess. Right. That some people mention,
Right.
they have different chemical compounds in there. So.
Well, pure water doesn't have a nice taste.
Right.
It's pretty flat.
Right. Do we mind if we change the topic just a bit?
Go ahead.
Yeah. I mean, I think we're getting toward the end.
Yeah, we'll quit at about 12:59 on that clock.
Okay. So we could great discussion, but I did want to put in ways for the listeners to help bring in more data for us.
Sure.
We got a citizen
CoCoRaHs,
science program that we're trying to get more members in, and we're looking for active participants in Las Cruces and whoever, actually anywhere, actually. And it's called CoCoRaHs. It's Community Collaborative Rain, Hail, and Snow Network. And just like as the name, we measure rain, hail, and snow. So it's free to join. All you need to get is your rain gauge, and it's we have a website. It's CoCoRAHS.org. CoCoRAHS.org, and all your information there is to learn more about it and to sign up. On the upper right of the website page, there's a join. And I'm the state coordinator for New Mexico, and I'm trying to get more observers in. We have a friend-raising competition called March Madness, which is going on right now. And so we're trying to get more members because we lose members over time, from people moving and various other things. So we're trying to get more people to replace those and become observers for us. And like I said, we got about 50 people in Las Cruces to help us out, and about 500 that are pretty active members in New Mexico.
Right, you don't need just one local measurement because we have such high spatial variability here.
Exactly, because actually CoCoRaHs has really changed the way we think about precipitation. Because in the past we had a National Weather Service cooperative site and maybe an airport, and that was it. Yeah. And now we've got instead of 2, we've got 52 sites, and on a regular basis we see like 2-inch gradients in precipitation daily. Fairly regularly every year, and during the monsoon, it's completely dry in one part of the town, and then you get a good dump of rain in, say, the East Mesa or West Mesa, and it's amazing to see how regularly that is, and it's going to change the way we think about it.
Well, I went to our research site one day after a heavy rain that we'd seen over the Jornada, and we were driving through mud on the road. Then there was a barbed wire fence, and it was dry on the other side. Yeah. In fact, the drops had split. But
this is one way to help out with the water budget. I mean, just to know how much fell.
Yes.
I mean, we have a fairly good idea, but we have a lot of gaps in our data, so we're trying to fill those gaps in, and everybody can take part in this.
Great.
And we really need people in the less populated areas of the state.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where, when you look at the map for Las Cruces, it's almost completely covered by dots of people making recordings. But between, let's say, Las Cruces and Deming, there's maybe 1 or 2 stops, or Las Cruces and up north, there's
Right.
just a few. So anybody who's out there who could do it in the more remote areas, that would be the big help.
Yes.
Right, and the hail and snow are problematic to collect in the standard rain gauge,
Right.
although that's not a big part of our total precipitation here. I remember, I think it was Ted Samus telling me that even the official weather stations at major airports like O'Hare don't have heated
Right.
rain gauges, so they're missing snow, and that's a big part of their.
Exactly. Yeah, and
But
that's one of our treasures is getting that information from people, and it's we get it. Even with our current network, it's we still struggle, and we're trying to get more people to participate because we had some really good hailstorm
Yes.
in the past couple years, and we did cover those in CoCoRaHs. And there was no other. If we didn't have CoCoRaHs, we wouldn't have known there was any
Right.
hail. I mean, of course, there's all the insurance payouts, right? You can probably figure out where the hail hit there, but actually solid quantitative numbers on hail, that's where it comes from.
Right.